So we are reading Liquid Luck by Joe Gallenberger. We are on chapter 5, which is love, page number 58 of the book and 60 of the PDF.
To understand this link between consciousness and love, we must expand our belief that consciousness and who we are exist solely in the brain. It is more likely that the brain is actually a transducer that receives and influences consciousness rather than being the location of consciousness. The word transducer is usually defined as a device that converts one form of energy to another form of energy, much like a radio receiver accepts electromagnetic waves and converts them into sound patterns. Consciousness itself may be independent of the brain and able to exist apart from the brain and independent of time space. The large body of PK, remote viewing, telepathy, and energy healing experiments strongly suggest this.
Yeah. So a lot of experiments have been conducted about where consciousness exists. Ultimately, what they are coming to a conclusion is that consciousness exists in a holographic form. There is one book by Michael someone, I forget the full name. Michael, uska naam T se chalu hota hai. But he writes about the holographic universe, right? We actually exist in a hologram. Now, what is a hologram? If you take a plate and then you take an object and you shine an object onto a photographic plate or a plate over there, and you shine laser light on that object from two different locations, the entire object gets embedded in the holographic plate. Now, if you shine a light in a particular way onto that holographic plate, the entire object comes up. So let's say it's a photograph of an apple, the whole apple will show up. Now, if you cut the plate into half, okay, and then again shine that laser light on that plate, again the whole apple will show up. You cut it again into half, again the whole apple will show up. The only difference being that the image will start getting dhundla. It will start getting less clear, less clear, less clear. So even the smallest part of the plate will give you the image of the whole apple. So what they are finding is that we live consciousness and everything exists in a hologram. Now, what they're also saying is that the brain is not where the consciousness exists, because a person whose brain dead can still be alive. There's no activity in the brain, but the body is still living. So consciousness is definitely not in the brain. What the brain acts like is that Michael Talbot, Holographic Universe. It's a very nice book, little heavy, but yeah, it's a very nice book. Now, so the brain acts like a receiver and a transmitter of information. So what we are getting as a download is decrypted by the brain so that we can consciously understand it. Or what we are getting as stimulus from our environment through the 5 sensory perceptions, we can actually understand what is there. It actually processes the data and allows us to access it. All our thoughts are also being transmitted. So any thought that you have, which happens literally in the brain, is also being transmitted into that holographic universe. So this is what he's saying over here, that our understanding of what consciousness is needs to get expanded, because most people think that the consciousness is in the brain, but it is not that anymore.
Further, there is good evidence that other areas of the body have their own powerful consciousness transducers, including the heart, the gut, and the entire human body system. For example, in the book New Self, New World, author Philip Shepard claims that scientists recognize the web of neurons lining the gastrointestinal tract as an independent brain. He believes that the belly brain is more in touch with life's mysteries than our cerebral brain.
So The Institute of HeartMath has clearly done a lot of research, and they've figured out that there is a brain in the heart. There are neurons which are there in the heart. And they've also figured out that the heart sends more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. Okay. Now, we all say, I had a gut feeling. So the gut, because all digestion takes place there, also has an intelligence of its own. We get we get butterflies in the stomach. So what is that? Our gut, the neurons, the neurons which are there existing in the gut also can tell us things. They can sense things. Okay. So the brain is only not in the brain. It is there in the heart as well as the gut. And what is to say that they are not going to slowly figure out that every cell in our body has intelligence? In fact, if you look at a picture of a cell, the cell also has a brain. It's the mitochondria, which acts like the brain of each and every cell. It responds, it gives instructions to how the cell needs to function, right? So even at the smallest level, there is a conscious awareness, there is an assessment of what is happening. Okay. We may feel, I'm going one step ahead of this now. We may feel that inanimate objects don't have conscious awareness, but in my experience they do. Okay. Now if there is a table, you look, you put your hand on the table and you say, I love you, I care for you. The energy being radiated from the table will be X. Now you hit the table and say that I don't care for you, I hate you. And then if you test the energy radiated from the table, it will be Y. So we think that the inanimate objects are there, but according to me, conscious awareness is there in even inanimate objects. But over here, what he is saying is that yes, intelligence is there in the brain, in the heart, as well as the gut.
Fascinating as this belly brain is, we are going to focus here more on the consciousness of the heart because it is better studied and more relevant to our discussion about love. Poetry, literature, and common sense have associated the heart with love for millennia. Now, science is starting to look at this organ, the heart, as more than just an amazingly reliable pumper of blood throughout the biological system.
So again from the Institute of HeartMath, the heart actually affects the body in 4 different ways. The heart has a brain, as I said, so it affects the nervous system of the entire system. The heart is pumping the blood. So when it's pumping, there's a mechanical thing coming and a magnetic field is generated. That is the field with which we use to sense things around us. Okay. The heart is also an endocrine gland. The thymus is there and it is related to the immunity of the body system. So that's why you find apes, etc., they'll thump their chest like this, they'll do this. Now, if all of you just do this once, just thump your chest like this, just thump it like this once for just 30 seconds. Okay, now you'll suddenly feel as if there's a charge, there's a vibration which is coming and charging your whole body. So that's why the apes used to thump their chest. This is one very good technique to improve your immunity system. Okay. And also what happens is because of the pumping, it is creating a sine wave inside the body system, which we are talking about from the perspective of HRV, the beat of the heart. It is affecting the entire heart. That message is going into the heart. All this is very well covered in the Resilience Advantage program that we conduct for the Institute of HeartMath in India. Okay, I think I'm the only trainer in India right now. We've done we've done quite a few Resilience Advantage programs, but recently we've taken it online. I think the next one is on the 5th. So if you all want to join that program, I think it's very, very good to understand what is happening inside our system, how to manage stress. Okay, so it's talking about the Institute of HeartMath.
The Institute of HeartMath is at the spearhead of this research and also leads in developing practical technologies that can help a person enhance the consciousness of the heart. When the emotional heart enters a state of calmness, appreciation, and love, the physical heart demonstrates a very smooth and coherent signal on EKG. Moreover, This heart energy projects throughout our bodies and also outward into the world. The research done through HeartMath suggests that this outward projection of heart energy can influence animals and people close by and may also affect bioelectromagnetic fields, even affecting the world's global fields.
So there is a study being conducted by the Institute of HeartMath. They call it the Global Coherence Project, where they have installed random number generators in remote places, and it is measuring what is happening, the pulse of the earth, right? They have also found that when focused attention is there towards one kind of an event, the random number generators get screened. Now, what is a random number generator? It's also called an RNG, where it's like flipping the coin, right? When you flip the coin, you get a head or a tail. Now, in a random number generator, they are generating either zeros or ones. Now, ideally, if you flip the coin 100 times, technically speaking, from logic, from probability, you should get 50 tails and 50 heads. Now, if you flip a 0 and a 1, you should get 50 zeros and a 51. But they have found that when focused attention is there on something by many people together, it screens it. So there'll be more zeros than ones. Okay. So this is what they are saying, that may affect the bioelectrical fields and even affect the world's global fields. Now, as I already mentioned, because of the heart pumping, the heart is the engine of the body. If the engine of a car is not tuned properly, you will get jerky ride, the fuel consumption will be more, and there will be more wear and tear. So if the heart is also not pumping in a rhythmic fashion, the same thing will happen to us, right? We'll get a jerky ride, there'll be more wear and tear, there will be cortical inhibition. We won't be able to think properly. If there is a jerky ride, the heart is not pumping in a proper way. Okay. Again, all this is discussed in the Resilience Advantage program at length.
Also of interest here is that HeartMath's research suggests that when we are in a energy, coherent heart energy state, our heart's energy radiates more strongly into the world, and we are more sensitive to detecting information in the fields around us. This may have strong relevance to our topics. My experience is that love energy, the energy of the heart, is the strongest energy from which to do PK, energy healing, and manifestation. This is in line with the findings that the heart energy radiates more strongly into the world when in a coherent state.
So when things are in rhythm, when things are in balance, there is no counter force acting, and everything is working in synchronicity, everything is synchronized with each other, then the effect is always more powerful. Okay, this is general common sense. Now, when we talk of coherence, it is like a shoal of fish which is swimming, and then there is some kind of a thread. The shoal of fish may be a kilometer long, right? And there's some thread at that end of the shoal, but at one shot, the whole shoal turns and moves the other way. How can they do that? It's literally physically impossible to send a message from that end of the shoal to this end of the shoal. But the message gets transmuted. Why? Because the shoal of fish is acting in coherence. Okay. Now, the more coherent we are, the more sensitive we are. It's like the monkey mind. We talk about the monkey mind in the excursion workshop. And in the preparatory process, there's a tool to take care of the monkey mind. If I have too many thoughts going on in my head, I will miss out what is happening around me, the signals from around me. What is my environment telling me? So I'm really thinking crazily about some that's going on. Even if someone tells me something, I may not comprehend it. Okay. So the more calmer you are, the more coherent your heart is, because it affects your thinking also. We are constantly working with the brain and the heart. The HeartMath Institute stuff works with the heart. The Monroe Institute stuff works with the brain. And manifestation can only take place when the heart and the brain are working in coherence. They're working together. So over here he says that if the heart is running or the heart rate variance is in coherence, then automatically we become better at manifestation because our intuitive abilities start to work. So we'll take better decisions, we'll be more successful. We'll be able to get intuitions also because there is a stillness in the entire thing, in the entire system.
We also find that when people are in this state of high love PK energy, their intuition becomes much stronger, progressing from vague hunches to clear knowings of what will come next on dice or slots, or where and how to send energy for healing, or what step to take next towards an important goal. In this high love state, people experience an increase in synchronicities, revelations, and insights. I started the first chapter with the report of someone solving a complex hardware software problem that had eluded solution for 2 years while in the energy developed with the liquid luck meditation. Today, I received another report of an inventor who had been stuck for 18 months on how to develop a whole new way to accomplish his invention's goal. He recently received accurate insight while using liquid luck, and his new invention is now in production.
So what does it say here? Progressing from vague hunches to clear knowing. Where and how to send energy for healing, and what step to take next for an important goal. So what does this imply? When we are in a coherent state, there is clarity of thought. You get intuitive process, you get that intuition as to what is the step you need to take, when you need to take it, how you need to take it. That clarity starts to come into the picture when there is coherence in the system. Okay, and let me tell you, I'm saying this from experience. I'm not just saying it just like that. When, for example, in the excursion, you learn a process called the one breath technique, where you can actually go into that altered state of consciousness and get answers for yourself, get intuitive ability for yourself. And it's actually very, very powerful and beautiful. Because if there is clarity on what you need to do, then there is no confusion. Most of the time, whenever we are taking any steps, there's confusion. Ye hoga ki nahi hoga, kaise hoega. But when you go into that state, you get tremendous clarity that, okay, this is what needs to be done right now. And it's really beautiful when you can go into that state of consciousness.
In PK literature, there is a body of work spanning decades called the Global Consciousness Project, which has placed monitors and random number generators around the world. These monitors show that when billions of people focus on one thing, such as the 9/11 attack or even Obama's first acceptance speech, random number generators around the world go from a random single into an ordered one. These results, again, very powerful scientifically, at more than 1 billion to 1 by chance. It is one of the strongest proofs that human consciousness affects physical matter reality.
So if we are all focused on a particular intent, we are all looking at manifesting one thing, then automatically the thing starts to manifest because we actually are very powerful. Okay, so I was reading this other book. It's called, I forgot the name the other day. It's the 3 laws of performance. And it's a very powerful book or system where they actually go into companies which are doing badly, right? And they figure out ways in which to get everyone in the company to come on the same page. Now, when everyone comes on the same page, they have a combined agenda for the process to manifest, or the company to actually get to do what they want to do, then when focused attention is there, they have actually turned around many companies which were doing very badly and were on the verge of closing down. They use the same process where they bring everyone into coherence, they bring everyone onto the same page, they change the way that a thing is occurring to people. Like if the unions are thinking that the management is bad and the management is thinking the unions are bad, the company cannot prosper in the long run. But if both the union and the management, they come onto the same page for the good of the entire organization and the company, then the company starts to prosper, which is again coherence, coming on the same page. When you're coherent, everything is working properly. Your left side and right side of the brain are on the same track. The left side is not going this way and the right side is not going the other way. So that's where systems start coming in place. Now, when the world attention is on something, it will screen whatever is happening. Okay. Yes, Kavita Didi. Kavita Didi, you have to unmute. Okay. Are you there? You're saying something. We can't hear you. अब headphone निकाल के बात कर लीजिए.
Yeah, is this better?
Yeah, it's okay. Now we can hear you.
Yeah, so in this present scenario, when everyone is talking of COVID, if we actually all of us make a conscious effort and shift out of fear, I think it'll just something which came to
101%.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the same thing, Kavita. You like
yeah.
So
otherwise we are thinking on the negative side constantly of COVID.
Yeah.
So
I
this
have
is the
stopped. I never read the news, but I just don't listen, even don't read the WhatsApps also now of COVID.
Yeah.
yeah. So you see, when everyone's attention is focused to COVID, that is what is increasing also, na?
Yes.
If we
Yes.
if we stop focusing about it, if it happens, then we deal with it. Why do we need to talk about it, right? Because you're focusing your attention there, and wherever your attention is, that is going to manifest. So if you're operating out of fear, the fear is going to manifest. If you're operating out of optimism, then optimism will manifest.
True.
Okay. Yes, Usha ji, you have a question?
No, I was just thinking there's the same idea behind what we call group prayers and mass prayers and things like that.
Correct. So group prayers and mass prayers are very good. Okay. But what is the state of consciousness with which you are doing the prayer? Who talks about that? Yeah, group prayer is very good. But if everyone is operating on, अरे ये नहीं हो जाए, भगवान कृपा कर दो कि ये नहीं हो जाए, ऐसे नहीं हो जाए. Okay, the other is you're open-hearted. You're saying that, okay, I agree that whatever needs to manifest will manifest. We want the best to manifest. Right? So now what is the consciousness with which you're doing the group prayer? Are you understanding that? Now, and let me tell you, most of the group prayers don't get this. They don't understand this concept. They are doing the group prayer from the left side of the grid, not from the right side of the grid. So in actual fact, if you're doing the prayer from the left side of the grid, it is detrimental to the entire situation. Are you all getting what I'm saying?
It's like you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Exactly, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So what is the state of consciousness with which you are doing something becomes so important here, right? I hope everyone's getting what I'm saying. So yes. I'm not against group prayer, but Baba, you please train the people how to do the group prayer before making them do the group prayer. Because again, as we are very clearly saying here, that when many people start focusing their attention on something, that is going to manifest. Now you're doing a group prayer, which is focusing on a depleting thing, on fear. That is what is going to manifest more. Okay. Anything else, Usha ji?
That's it.
Okay.
It's just a thought I shared.
No, absolutely. It's a good. I think I think it's a very important thing that you picked up. Very important. Yes, Purnima Didi.
बुक आप कौन सी बुक का नाम बोले थे?
Book.
अभी आप some new book you are reading, 3 something.
Yeah. It's the 3 laws of performance by Steve Saffron. It's not awareness kind of book. It's a little different kind of book. Yeah, but the concepts can be used in what we are doing in awareness also. Indra Bhabhi, yes, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to share, Niket, what you said just now. On the 7th of March, we at the Oneness in the whole world body had done a prayer for healing, for earth healing. So first we were put in a breakthrough state.
Yeah.
We were first asked to shift, and then the Heart Math Institute measured the difference in the level of consciousness, and they actually saw a jump. But before we did that, we were trained for 7 days to shift into that, and then we were made to pray for the earth to heal, and not just random. And when they measured, they actually saw a difference before and after that 45 minutes of prayer which happened.
Yeah.
So just thought I'd share that.
Yeah, you shared that. So I think this thing was Jeff was there, right?
Yeah, Jeff was. Yeah,
Jeff personally.
Okay, he did it.
So, yeah. So actually the shifts can take place, but you need to see, what are we doing in awareness? If you really look at it, we're constantly focusing on uplifting stuff. We're not talking about depleting stuff at all, right? We're constantly focusing on how to get from the left side to the right side. Now, when you're on the right side, you're coherent, and then you do something, then it really works. For example, even in the healing group, when we are talking about the reball, very clearly we mention in all the excursion workshops, it's a win-win situation that you're looking for. You're shifting into an altered state and then setting an intent there and sending that intent out or that wish to that other person in the form of a reball. And that is what creates a shift. You're going into an altered state. If you do it from your normal fearful state, then you are actually creating a problem rather than a solution. So if you're operating from fear when you're sending a reball, that is also a huge problem, let me tell you. I think we need to have another session where we are going to talk about how to send the reball. I'll set that up also. We need to go through all the tools once more that we have done in the various programs. We will set up another session for that also.
As an example of how wide-ranging HeartMath's research is, I will mention the Global Coherence Initiative. This project is similar in scope to the Global Consciousness Project, but instead of measuring the effects of thought on randomness, the Global Coherence Initiative measures heart's energy's effect on the electromagnetic fields of the earth. HeartMath is placing coherence monitors around the world. They have 7 in place currently that are measuring coherence in the Earth's magnetic field. They are finding that when many people around the world meditate in a way that puts their hearts into coherence, the magnetic field of the Earth shifts to reflect this coherence.
So this is what I was mentioning, that these random number generators are being put in various places. They are being put in places where there is no human habitat, right? They are attempting to place it in wilderness areas where there is no electricity going and, all that sort of stuff going. And they're placing, human interference will not be there. So they're placing it in various remote places. I had actually thought, and I had spoken to some people that we could put it in a tea garden somewhere in Assam or something, but then that didn't work out simply because it's a pretty expensive process from Indian standards to set it up and also then to monitor it. It's not such an easy process.
HeartMath, along with finding that heart coherence is related to many positive health and personal outcomes, has developed technologies not only to measure heart coherence, but also to help train a person into stronger heart coherence. Their EM wave biofeedback device, for example, can be hooked to a computer where the screen presents a black and white picture of a garden with the physiologic monitor placed on your ear. As you move into greater heart coherence, the picture gradually adds color, then animals and other beautiful features, giving you real time feedback as to how successful you are at moving into a deeply coherent heart state.
Shivangla, slow down a little bit. Okay, so now what is this? This is an EM wave. It's called an EM wave. We have the devices. Some people here have got personal devices which can now be hooked onto telephones also. You can actually see your heart rate variance on screen, whether you're stressed out or not on screen. We've talked about this before. You can actually see it on screen. Maybe at the end of the session, I will put the coherence trainer for you all to really focus on it and see what's the difference that it makes. So you can actually see, you can play games on it. There's a game where a balloon is there. The more coherent you are, the balloon goes further. Over here, they're talking about a garden. The more coherent you become, the more richer the garden becomes. The flowers, the colors start coming, the fruits start coming, flowers start coming, animals start coming. It's a beautiful way to actually picture that, whether you are in coherence or not. There are various physiological ways in which it can be measured. It measures high coherence, low coherence, medium coherence, whether you're able to hold the coherence or not. Because if you're going up and down in coherence, then ultimate score is not good. What is the level of your coherence? So there's a range, and then you have challenge levels also. So it's a fantastic tool to be able to get biofeedback where you actually see whether you're coherent or not. So, and believe me, 90% of the people who say, they come in front of the computer screen and they sit down and they'll say that I'm not stressed, I'm absolutely okay, right? But then when we put them on the equipment, 90% of the people are stressed out, let me tell you. So we think we are not stressed because stress has become normal, right? We need to start becoming aware of that. When we are stressed, in the heart math principle, the sympathetic nervous system is active. That is the fight and flight response. You are getting ready to fight or to run, which is not a state of well-being. When the parasympathetic nervous system is working, the body is co-regulating. It's being able to heal itself. We're going into homeostasis, right? That is not there when the stress response is active. So that becomes extremely important, and especially when we get biofeedback, we can actually understand what is happening with us. This is really well discussed in again, I don't want to market the product, the program, but it's something according to me that everyone should attend, because it really gives you a good insight as to what and how things are working in our system.
Heart math has found that even simple exercises such as putting your hand over your heart tends to bring your awareness to your heart and helps calm the heart and bring it into coherence. This calmness or coherence can then be further deepened by thinking of a person, animal, or place that you love. Much of what heart math does, in my opinion, serves to quiet the ego mind chatter, allowing the physical heart to function better, which allows the feeling and consciousness of the heart to play a greater role in what we are experiencing.
So when we do those simple tools that are taught in the process, what happens is that the heart goes into better coherence. Raghuji is over here. He keeps talking about heart focused breathing all the time. He attended the Resilience Advantage program, and then he's actually using these tools in his life. Raghuji, are you here? Can you unmute? Raghuji, are you here? Yeah, you are here. Raghuji, can you unmute? Raghuji, are you here? Okay.
Here.
Yeah. So can you share with everyone how this process, the heart focused breathing, is affecting you?
Yeah. Actually, the day I was taking the program, 1 minute, I just do something because, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Can
you.
you
Go
hear
ahead.
me?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah,
Can
go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, now you've muted. Now you've muted. Raghu,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now again it's muted. Yeah, we can see you now. You have to unmute. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you and see you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
We
Hello?
can hear you.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Hello?
Raghuji, we can hear
Can
you.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Oh, he's not.
I think he can't hear us.
Yeah, he can't hear.
Can you hear me?
I think he can't hear.
We can hear
Can you
you.
hear me? Hello? Can you
Okay.
can
We
you
can
hear
hear
me?
you, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, okay, good. The day I was supposed to be taking the program on resilience, I was before that I was pretty sick that night. Did not sleep till 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock. I got up very late, 7:30. Half mind not to go to the class, but then anyway I paid for that. Let me do it and see how it works. And I got in at 9:30. It started. At about 10:15, suddenly I shifted totally. I was so much energy, all the tiredness was gone. It just started the first exercise, I think, after 1 hour approximately, and whole day, it went till 7:30. I think I was bubbling with energy. No sleep in the lunch, and I was very shocked actually that just look, and then I started using it constantly. After 2 days, I had fairly heavy stomach ache. I started. What I also do is not only breathe through the chest, breathe through the. I thank the lungs, my heart, and in gratitude for them, and smile into them, and also my thymus gland. I just energize the whole thing. There is just I thought it could work better, and started breathing to that. In about 5 minutes, my stomach ache was gone, and also whenever I have a negative feeling, it's really happening to me. I tend to think about things which will happen. Those things are completely going away. The moment I start breathing through my heart, I shift into different level of. I come to the right side of this thing. It's really amazing what's happening. I'm telling everybody about that, and and also the way I have deal with my wife. We have a lot of small siblings, but it's more or less gone for me. I'm enjoying everything basically, and that is and also I had some stomach issues. It's improving very fast. I'm actually bought into that so much. I'm constantly using it. Even the meditation yesterday, there was quite a lot of. I was focusing so much on the heart. It was really beautiful. I didn't talk about it because I was just in a different awareness. I could not even talk, but it was so. I tried to do even read. I wrote about that also. I read. I have a little bit of lately. My memory is slipping me, so I started reading. They called it when we were young, so we learned it by heart. So I started, let me start reading everything by heart. And there is a shift. I'm experimenting with it. I cannot say I am successful or not. I don't know yet, but I am trying to do everything from the heart. I don't shut the mind, I bypass the brain. And I think through the heart I get into the brain, I think. That's the impression I have.
Yeah.
It's just the end point is gone from the top to the middle. I start living from the heart. I mean, that's what is happening. Slowly, I'm actually doing it almost 15 hours a day.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you for sharing that, Raghuji. So Raghuji is 79 years old, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I'm 79. Don't feel like that.
Yeah, so you can understand if it's working for him, I guess it can work for anyone, and especially for younger people. Just imagine if you get those tools, if you're young. See, what I'm wanting to encourage is that youngsters start attending these programs. If they can get these tools when they are young, then they have their whole life to use these tools. If it can work for Raghuji at that age, just imagine what it will do for people when they start using it when they are younger. So I would encourage all the people here, to encourage your children to join such programs. I'm not saying join awareness programs, but join such programs. Okay, this is very, very important in my view. Thank you so much, Raghuji, for sharing. Thank you so much.
The binaural beat technology in the liquid luck meditation can serve the same purpose of bringing the heart's energy and consciousness more into the foreground. Binaural beat technology brings the right and left hemispheres of the brain into balance, and this tends to quiet the ego mind, which is associated with the left hemisphere, past, future, and language focused. This allows the right brain, here now, unity focused, more voice in our experience of consciousness. This brain balancing and the consequent quieting of the mind also allows us to increase our awareness of the parts of our consciousness that transduce through our hearts and our belly, allowing us to feel our consciousness more completely and as a more unitary whole.
So many of you have attended the excursion workshop. The hemisync technology is totally based on multi-layered binaural beats, right? Now, most of the time you have only one single binaural beat, but at times the mind can get bored of it. When you have multi-layered binaural beats playing, the mind gets engaged. And this technology actually starts to take you from a left brain way of working into a whole brain state of consciousness. Now, as a society, since the industrial age, we have been paying a lot of attention to logic. We need scientific proof for everything, right? These are all left brain oriented things. The right brain gets a gestalt, it gets intuition, it gets insight, it gets a sense of knowing, which is not available to the left side of the brain. So when we go into a whole brain state, the intuition starts to work. We get a feeling. It connects the right side of the brain. The right side of the brain connects more to the heart. We get into more feeling. We get into the state of sensing through the heart's magnetic field, which is generating. The brains, they've measured, the brain's electromagnetic field goes only, I think, about 2 inches or 3 inches maximum. But the heart's electromagnetic field, they've measured, they say it's up to 6 feet away, which is very, very powerful. And then they have even measured, the Heart Math Institute has measured it a kilometer away, right? So that means that we are able to sense, and what's to say that the energy is not going to the end of the universe, where we can actually get sensitive and actually figure out things. People, when they are going into remote viewing, they can actually remote view Mars, they can remote view Saturn. How are they able to do that? There has to be some kind of a carrier frequency which is allowing them to expand their state of consciousness to go into that state, right? And I think the heart is very much involved in this entire process.
Watching a video of puppies being born or soldiers returning home to joyful reunions with their families can move us into heart space quite easily, and we may find ourselves tearful as powerful emotions flow through us.
Shimangla, please slow down.
But for most of us, this is not very long lasting. This type of heart opening is more like a cut flower opening soon to fade. If we become strongly grounded, as mentioned earlier in the book, then this heart energy may begin to flow more and more steadily and strongly in our lives.
So what does it say? That simple incidences can shift us, but it doesn't hold us. The more we practice being in that state of consciousness, the more grounded we become. So grounding is a very, very important part of this entire process. So if I want manifestation to take place, I need to be grounded. And where do I need to be grounded? My body needs to be grounded, right? So I have to have that base. It's like when we are jumping on a trampoline, first I have to go down into the trampoline to jump high, right? If I don't go down, I will not be able to jump high. So if I want to go into expanded states of consciousness, I need a proper grounding. So grounding becomes very, very important.
One of the things that can keep us from fully experiencing love is our tendency to criticize and judge ourselves harshly for our imagined faults. This can include little things such as forgetting someone's birthday, to chronic twinges such as a feeling that we are overweight, to large screw ups where we feel badly for a long time afterwards. A heart helpful affirmation to gentle this judgment energy is as follows. Say to yourself, even though I fill in the blank, I completely love and accept myself. Examples might be, even though I did not get all my work done, I completely love and accept myself. Or, even though I made a bad decision there, I completely love and accept myself. This affirmation can be said at once whenever you feel self judgment. I also like to say it at the end of the day, perhaps in the form of, even though I was not perfect today, I completely love and accept myself.
So, so once again, who is our biggest critic? We ourselves. Okay. So we need to be aware when we are criticizing ourselves. Self-criticism has to stop. Okay. If you don't love yourself, if you don't accept yourself, then you can never love anyone else or accept anyone else. This is a given. You cannot transcend that. There is no way that you can love anyone else if you don't love yourself. So we need to be aware when we are going into self-criticism. Now, this is something, this phrase, even though I, is very much used in the process of tapping, where you tap. So you'll tap here, you'll tap here, you'll tap here. There's a tapping process. We had actually done a program on tapping also. We can talk about it a little more later. I think in emotional code, when Dattatreya was giving the program,
This
he had also
EFT.
EFT, emotional
Freedom technique.
yeah.
Emotional freedom technique, yeah.
Emotional freedom technique. It's called tapping. Okay. So in that, they use this phrase. So even though I'm not like this, I'm this. And I love myself. I care for myself. So these are life affirming statements that we are making for ourselves, right? We are affirming that we care for ourselves. We are loving ourselves. But again, I put this caveat in the picture that if you don't do it with feeling, you're just saying the words, the effect will be muted. Of course, the words will have an effect, but it will be muted. So we need to do what we are doing, even when we are saying these words, with feeling. So I need to actually feel that I love and care for myself, not just the heck of saying it. Okay, this becomes important. So this is a very nice way of doing it. Every evening we say that, okay, even though I made all this stuff, but I still love and care for myself, and actually feel it. See, we are not perfect, right? We can't do everything perfectly. It is literally impossible for everything to go perfectly. So we have to accept what is and allow things to manifest.
In becoming less judgmental about yourself, you may also find yourself more accepting and loving towards others. This is definitely a win win situation. If the previous affirmation feels like you are coddling yourself too much, remember we do indeed learn better through love than fear. One can, but should not, harshly spank a dog or child, and they will likely learn to suppress a behavior out of fear. But if one loves a dog or child, then it is more likely that they will be good because it is joyful to be good, and this is self sustaining. It is the same for you. You will grow, thrive, and become a much better person through love than you will ever become through criticism and fear.
So very clear, right? We learn better when we are in a state of love or through love, when we are peaceful, calm, joyful, we always learn more than when we are in fear. When we look at fear, we are on the left side of the grid. When we look at love, joy, energy, excitement, we are on the right side of the grid. So we always learn better when we are on the right side of the grid. And constantly I'm repeating like a monologue that if we operate on the right side of the grid, only manifestation will take place when we are on the right side of the grid. If we are on the left side of the grid, manifestation will not take place. So the example that he gives over here will learn to suppress the behavior out of fear, right? It is not becoming a state of being for them. They are operating from fear. So that vasana is still there in them. Given a chance, it will again manifest. But if they are actually turning their behavior pattern, they are actually enjoying being on the right side of the grid, they will automatically do what is required to be done and what is good to be done. They will not do something out of fear, right? So with children, this becomes extremely important. And let me tell you, children learn from example. So if you are doing something and you tell your child not to do it, let me tell you, it's not going to work. And then you scold your child. One day the child is going to turn around and tell you, you are doing it. Why are you telling me not to do it? So it becomes very important that we operate out of love and not out of fear. Yes, Raghuji, you want to say something?
Yeah. A few things. One of the things which occurred to me, which I wanted to share with you all, is that number one, when you are living through the heart, all these things happen to you automatically. You don't, only the mind, the brain creates, or the mind creates all this judgment and everything. You are suddenly shifting so much when you are living through the heart. That's, and also there are a lot of, the great Ramana Maharishi talked about, his technique was try to find out who you are. They always said, you are in the cavity of your heart. That's what he has experienced himself. So, and also a lot of Tamil siddhas they have written about, you can reach Shiva only through your heart, not through your brain. So there's a literature available on that. So it's very interesting that this is such a powerful technique we have, which can, sort of, we don't even try to not to be judgmental, try not to be this, try not to be that. It's always a resistance, but when you are able to be automatically in that process, it becomes a lot of fun. And
Exactly.
being a
Exactly.
witness to the whole situation.
Exactly. So that's what we are working on here, right? We want to make it a state of being. There is no trying about it. That is what you are. It's simply that. That's it.
Should we end here?
No, please finish this chapter.
How does love specifically relate to the energies we have explored so far and to manifesting more powerfully in our lives? It is not necessary to be feeling happiness, gratitude, and abundance to feel or experience being loving. We can be loving while in deep grief or depression. That said, it is often much easier to feel loving if we are already feeling happy, abundant, and grateful. So these energies do foster and nurture love. This happens much like a grand cathedral with beautiful architecture and windows fosters prayer. The cathedral or a beautiful spot in nature does not make us pray, but creates a conducive energetic environment. Happiness, gratitude, and feeling abundant and compassionate also create a conducive energetic environment for love.
So what does it say? We can be loving while in deep grief or depression. Now, I have been in depression, so I understand where I'm coming from, right? The point here is that when you are in grief and depression, one of the best ways to get out of it is to serve others, do something for others. That will again bring joy back into your life. Now, that is a trick. Now, energetic environment. So that is what we are doing when we talk about the energetics in the Vastu workshop. your environment has a very profound effect on you. So if your environment is depleting, it is going to suck the energy out of you and make you depressed, make you angry, make you irritable. In fact, when we are going into people's houses, there are few frequencies. If they are off, we can say as a thumb rule that there is an extreme amount of irritability in the environment till that frequency is rectified. So the more we can have clarity in our environment, and the more that we can operate from the heart, be of service, be loving, be kind to everyone around us, be compassionate, right? And be grounded at the same time, the better off we are going to be.
And as we have seen with other energies we are studying, love is part of a magnificent positive feedback cycle. Love elevates and strengthens all these positive energies by wrapping them in a warm blanket of light. Fear tends to cloud and constrain positive energies, while love melts fear. Love also promotes the extension of these positive energies, first to ourselves and then outward into the world. The extension allows us to be in communion with the physical world and the world of spirit, and that allows an energetic connection with both worlds, which is necessary for powerful manifestation. These loving, energetic connections are how our intent reaches out from the realm of the heart to affect the physical world and bring in what we desire to create.
So it says over here, love is part of the magnificent positive feedback cycle. So what you give out, that is what you will get back. There was a beautiful, it's been circulating for years now by Wayne Dyer about the orange, right? I posted it on the weekly group also. But you see, today, what are you going to radiate? What is going to come out of you if you are squeezed? Now, in that video, what he talks about is that if you squeeze an orange, you will get orange juice. You cannot get apple juice or cucumber juice. Okay. So whatever is in you is going to come out. So the point over here becomes is that if you are radiating love, if you are in that positive feedback cycle of love, when you radiate that love out to others, that is what will come back to you because you are resonating with that particular frequency. If you're radiating with another frequency, that is what will manifest in your life. So what are you thinking? Where are you operating from? What is the state of consciousness that you are in becomes extremely important as to what is happening in your life. Are you selfish? Are you willing to give? Are you willing to serve? Are you willing to support and help? If you can, of course, to the best of your ability. Now you need to survive yourself, right? So overcare is not a good thing. If I'm over caring for someone and in the process I'm killing myself, then what's the point of serving that person? So that judgment, that being able to understand, that intuitive ability ki kitna kare or kitna nahi kare becomes extremely important here. Shimangla, what happened?
I will end this chapter by offering a heart opening exercise to increase love. Take 10 to 15 minutes to do this exercise. It can be a daily meditation or a few times a month, whatever seems right to you. Find a private spot. It can be helpful to be gazing at something beautiful or listening to music that feels heart opening to you. First, just allow yourself to relax and enter the present moment. When feeling comfortable and in this moment, put your hand on your chest and move your awareness to your heart, feeling the gentle up and down of your chest as you breathe in and out. Now call to mind someone or something that you love deeply. Just let your awareness become completely filled with this memory and allow your heart to relax into feeling fully the love that is flowing. Enjoy this connection with love for a few minutes and then say, I am love. And feel more fully your infinite capacity for love. Then let this love flow towards yourself, appreciating your place in this world and also as a spiritual being. End with generously allowing this feeling of love to extend to the world and people around you. As you do this exercise repeatedly, you may well find it becomes easier to enter into deeply loving awareness.
So this is very well covered in the Resilience Advantage program. And there are actually various steps to this process, which is very well structured in the Resilience Advantage program. So the first step is the heart focused breathing, becoming heart aware. The next step is going into a state of appreciation or gratitude. The third step is from that state of consciousness to radiate it out to whatever situation, person, or state that you would like, or situation to radiate it out from you. So it's actually a 3 or a 4-step process, which is very, very well covered in the Resilience Advantage program. So when you do it in that structured way, it becomes very, very powerful. It becomes an extremely powerful tool and process. Okay, I think we can stop here.